Welcome to the Dirty South Security Podcast. My name is Tony UV, CEO at VerSprite. I'm here joined with Michael Tidwell. Michael, why don't you introduce yourself for the fellow Atlanta ATLians, as we call it, out here. We're right in front of the North Highland Bakery, one of the iconic places in Atlanta. But Michael, please go ahead and introduce yourself.
I thought you were just going to keep going. It was going to be like this troll.
I was. I mean, it's noteworthy here. The ricotta pancakes are amazing, but go ahead.
Michael Tidwell, co-organizer of the Atlanta Bitcoin Conference.
Right on.
Founder of the Atlanta blockchain group that's now rebranded to the Atlanta BitDevs meetup group.
Preach it.
And I work at Zebedee, which is a Bitcoin video game company.
What does Zebedee do? Exactly.
We enable micropayments within video games.
Nice.
Using Bitcoin.
How long have you guys been around?
About 2 years.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And are you guys hiring for all the ATL subscribers out there?
No. No, we're not. We're very picky.
Fair. So let's dive into some Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So
Sure.
You told us a little bit about ZBD, and tell us a little bit about how Atlanta is in terms of a market for tech enthusiasts, those that are diving into cryptocurrency. Is it Atlanta a great spot for that, or do you feel that other cities are more informed in terms of technologists or investors?
Yeah, so that's an interesting question. Just the general take on Atlanta and Bitcoin is kind of what I heard there. We have some things that people might not know about. In Atlanta, we have one of the first Bitcoin processing companies that help merchants accept Bitcoin. It's BitPay. Have you heard of them?
Yeah, of course.
So BitPay, and then we're also home of I want to say the world's biggest Bitcoin ATM company.
Wow, shout out ATL, okay.
Bitcoin Depot. I think they have about 4,000 Bitcoin ATMs around the U.S., and I'm not sure about other countries, but they're founded here.
Now, you work for a cryptocurrency company that is trying to introduce, cryptocurrencies into gaming, right, in simple terms. So obviously, is it safe to say you're a believer in cryptocurrencies just throughout any type of cryptocurrency? If I do an initial coin offering tomorrow, would you invest?
No, definitely not. Have you ever heard of a toxic Bitcoin maximalist?
Of course, but explain it to our subscribers.
So I'm a toxic Bitcoin maximalist.
Okay.
Which means I get kicked out of clubhouse rooms if I say the wrong things. No, but I'm pretty much only Bitcoin, like in terms of what I think is interesting.
So you're a cryptocurrency elitist with Bitcoin, is what you're saying here.
I would say for the most part. There's obviously things that are going on outside of Bitcoin that may be interesting, but in terms of where you want to put your money and where you want to put your energy, I would say that's, for the most part, just Bitcoin.
So if there's an ATL coin that was tied to the local economy and how it performed here in Atlanta as an example, would you actually run with that?
Sure, but we've seen currencies like this in the past potentially, and the ones that are more universal are going to be the superior ones.
Okay.
So geographically located, focused currencies are going to be inferior, in my opinion, to anything that's a little bit more universal. So stuff like the U.S. dollar and Bitcoin are going to be better than anything that's like, hey, you can only spend your ATL bucks here in Atlanta.
Right. Gosh, let me get real with you, Mike.
Oh, okay, let's do it.
So let's say that is Bitcoin right now with its strike price? Is it well? First of all, let me ask this question. A lot of people say that Bitcoin shouldn't be looked upon as an investment. It's straight up a currency, and it shouldn't be looked upon as an investment. But a lot of people are treating it as an investment. What do you think about that point?
I think it depends. I think it is both a currency and an investment.
Okay.
So the investment is, do you believe that your government is going to keep printing trillions and trillions of dollars every year? And if so, then your assets are going to inflate in price.
Gotcha.
Including Bitcoin.
Okay.
And as Bitcoin becomes widely used, more widely used, as it becomes more useful, better, gets more adoption, it's going to go up faster than other asset classes. So really the thing that's driving the fuel under this is just the fact that we have such a terrible currency right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like anything else, even though Bitcoin might not be ideally the best thing ever. It's just so far superior than the U.S. dollar.
Now, this wouldn't be a Dirty South security podcast without talking about security. And, a lot of people are reticent to get into the cryptocurrency game just because of the concerns around the security of the wallets, how some of them are kept online versus offline. Even the ones that are kept offline, there's some concern there. What about the developers themselves? They're basically writing these smart contracts. How do you know that they're actually writing good code? So there's a lot of inherent concerns. What do you say to all of the shade and skepticism that is basically circling around, potentially diving in and embracing, Bitcoin or any other altcoin as a strategy for, let's say, a graduate or even a retiree that's looking to put their money somewhere?
Yeah, a lot to unpack there. So I think, like if someone's either fearful or they have doubt or concerns, whatever, or security wise, whatever, it's like,
right.
What do you do with this? And and I think at the these are legitimate concerns.
Okay.
You don't want to trust. Ideally, you want to use stuff that's very widely used. That would have a sufficient enough bounty on it.
Mm-hmm.
To where it's like, well, if they haven't been stolen from, then I probably won't. That's like a rule of thumb in terms of like, hey, I'm a pleb. I'm someone who isn't technical at all, but I do understand markets. I do understand game theory. And it's like, that's for like the very non-technical people where it's like, hey, if you have $1 billion locked up in this type of wallet or with this kind of security paradigm, what's an extra couple $100 or $1,000 or $1 million or whatever? And that's kind of like the game theory approach to this, where it's like, you don't have to be necessarily technical to have faith that it's going to work. Now, obviously, it's better to be able to verify these technical kind of claims and these technical softwares that you're using, right? But that's not going to be for everyone, obviously.
I got more of a personal question now. I mean, and you don't have to answer, but
I'll answer it probably.
Okay, good. What was your favorite item in breakfast today at North Highland Bakery?
Can't answer that question.
Okay.
Sorry. But I didn't know it was going to be that personal.
We get personal here in the Dirty South Security Podcast.
The grits were pretty good.
The grits are delicious. Yeah. All right. So what do you think the future holds in the next 5 to 10 years for Bitcoin itself? Do you think that it's going to get rivaled by Ethereum and maybe other trailing altcoins? Or do you think that it's just going to maintain the lead for the next 5 to 10, foreseeable future?
Yeah, that's a great question. One that I don't obviously have a crystal ball for, but I can tell you that I have a feeling that Bitcoin will stay number one. I do feel that we're going to see euphoric price rising between now and 5-10 years from now, to the point where we're going to be talking about this and we'll be saying, dude, do you remember when Bitcoin was 50K? Like, man, I wish I sold my kidney, for some more Bitcoin, because it's I think we're going to be in, for the people who
your kidney probably wouldn't get so much on the market, but go ahead.
For the people who decide to put some skin in the game, I think it's a non-zero risk that they're going to be rewarded given a 10-year period. Now, in terms of like alternative coins, like what you mentioned, like Ethereum.
Yep.
Yeah, I think there could be a situation where you have eclipses where certain alternative coins supersede Bitcoin in terms of market cap short term, and we've seen this in the past with other projects like Aurora Coin for like a day and Ripple for like a day. These things, but they're very short term, and it's usually not. It's usually because of illiquid markets.
Can I ask you a more philosophical macro question now?
Sure.
So related to the future of wealth and wealth distribution, you look at traditional, demographics of individuals that have amassed wealth in the past. Do you think that cryptocurrency is a disruptor to all that? That basically provides an egalitarian way for anyone to make massive amounts of money? And the second question to that is, how easy is it to retain wealth strictly made with cryptocurrencies?
Yeah, so the first part of that is, how do we feel about the egalitarian point of this, and how easy is it to be used around the world or so forth? Like, I want to say Zebedee. We have what we're seeing as people in Latin American countries using playing our video games, because the kids for some of these families are making more money in Bitcoin than what the family's making an entire month just in one day. So you want to talk about directly benefiting people in need of some money. I think Zebedee's almost by accident running a charity type program that does 100, that's direct to the consumer, which is like, you don't have to give your money to like a, Red Cross or, what Human Rights Foundation, not to say those aren't good organizations potentially, but we're doing directly to the people who need it, which is kind of cool. It enables you to do these kind of activities. So I think that's pretty neat.
That is pretty awesome. All right,
I didn't even have a
so you're the leader of TabConf. You're the founder of TabConf and
co-founder actually.
Co-founder. Okay,
Yeah.
well that's very humble of you to share the stage.
Yeah.
So what is TabConf for all the listeners out there tuning into the Dirty South Security Podcast? When is it happening? Who's the target audience? What do people get out of it if they show up?
Yeah, so TabConf is November 4th through 6th. It's very technical education focused first, and we're focused about building communities and giving back around the Bitcoin community. So we're going to be doing workshops on day one, technical workshops, and then the next 2 days are going to be traditional days of the conference. And this is going to be an opportunity where people can go to different rooms, similar to DEF CON, how they have villages. We're going to set up some villages where people can go to, how do I run a Bitcoin node? How do I transact on Lightning Network? Certain things like this. How do I remain secure and anonymous and private on Bitcoin? So these things are going to be, there's going to be experts there to help newbies. And even if you are an expert, we're going to have workshops there that even push, new material. What I like to say is if you're a level 0 in terms of your tech skill, leave being a level 1. If you're a level 5, leave being a level 6. There's something there for every technical level. And we've invited a lot of Bitcoin Core developers. I think it's going to be a great time. We're having cool charity events like charity poker at the end of each day of the conference on the 5th and 6th, where the winner gets to pick the charity of their choice, where the money goes. So I think there's going to be some cool things going on, and can't wait for the scavenger hunt. We put a lot of effort into that. So
That's awesome.
Yep.
This is the first annual TabConf conference, correct?
This is our third.
Oh, third annual.
Yep.
Awesome. And so this is the first one in Atlanta, or?
It stands for the Atlanta Bitcoin Conference. This is our third Atlanta event conference. Yeah.
Well, that's good. Well, it's good that we're talking about here in the ATL Dirty South Security Podcast. Then, tell us a little bit about you yourself. I mean, in terms of why are you in Atlanta? You tell us a little bit about your background, what you like to do, what sort of things kind of get you up in the morning besides Bitcoin.
99% of the time I get up because of Bitcoin.
Do you ever have bad dreams about your crypto wallet being stolen?
No, because I use VerSprite.
What would you like to do if you weren't doing in the space of cryptocurrency?
Video games.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your favorite video game?
I think the Halo series really made a big impact on me.
New release coming out in December. Are you excited about it? Or you?
No, because I don't play video games that much anymore. I'm more like making video games.
So you led me on to that question with no good end in sight.
Yes.
Hey, Mike, any final thoughts and words for our listeners out there?
Yeah, if you care about Bitcoin, want to support it, come to the conference.
We appreciate your time today in the Dirty South Security Podcast. Thanks so much for joining us today for the inaugural. How honored are you that you're part of the inaugural podcast today for the Dirty South Security Podcast?
I can't wait to be on next year.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. And see you at TabConf in November.
Awesome. Check out zbd.io as well, and check out versprite.com for some more cybersecurity goodness. This is Tony UV signing off.